Now let's check out the laser making frequency shifter. Very cool effect, actually two effects. It's also a ring modulator, which will take whatever frequency it gets and shift it up or down, but by any amount of hertz you set it. So for example, if you just play a pure sine wave of 440 hertz, if you shift it up by 200, you're just going to get a sine wave of 640 hertz. Now, this is different from actual pitch shifting. Pitch shifting does keep the relationship of all the pitches. This just shifts all the frequencies up and down, which can, very subtle amounts can create some kind of this phasing or tremolo effects, or all the way to kind of crazy metallic and weird abstract sounds. So right here, first of all, we have the dry wet, of course, the mix between the effect and the dry, and the non-effect, the dry, and the full effect, the wet. Here is the main frequency knob for the shifting, so how much we shift in it. Let's listen to that. It's going to sound very extreme. Right, all the way to kind of laser sound. If you go up, it's going to be very kind of a whistling sound. You can also change it by fine-tuning, by very small amounts. And here we also have a wide knob, which will separate what it does, or basically do the opposite for the left and right channels. So for example, on the right side, it will turn down, and on the left side, it will turn up. Can be a very great, cool stereo widening effect if used very subtly. So don't forget that you can always turn on the wide. Just use it a tiny bit to make a more kind of a stereo effect, which is very cool. Nice. We can turn this effect into a ring modulator, and the ring modulation essentially just takes the frequency that is added and subtracted from the input. So for example, you play it like a note, let's say 440, like A. So the frequency, let's say the frequency is set to 100. The output will contain some of the 340 and some of the 540, meaning subtraction and addition, and kind of giving you the result of that, just ring modulation. So very low amounts. It's somewhat like amplitude modulation. And then all the way to the ring modulation realm. Nice. Now, once you switch to the ring modulation, you also get this drive being enabled. You can turn it on, and then this is an extra saturation distortion, and this is post-mix, so you don't really have to actually use the effect. You can just turn it down, and you have a whole new driver, a whole new saturator or distortion effect in Ableton we probably didn't even know about. So this is unrelated to the actual effect because it's after the effect. You can put it on dry, but it's only available in the ring modulation for some reason. Nice. We also have a built-in LFO. This is a dual stereo LFO, very similar to what we have in the auto pan. So if I turn it up, let's do some frequency modulation. Actually, let's say load some drums, and we can listen to it on drums, because on percussion, frequency modulation can be actually quite useful. Let's try this. Oh, and let's bring back the dry wet. Can create some very interesting sounds. Let's add some LFO. And now we can hear both the left and the right the frequency amount is being modulated. One is going up, one is going down. You can change the waveform. And even random. Here's the speed. You can synchronize it. And here you have the phase and the relationship between the dual LFOs to adjust the stereo effect. And you can even go to spin, which will detune the two LFOs relative to each other. So it can be a very useful effect. Just to take percussion, make it a bit weirder, a bit different sound. It can even be used as a stereo spreader with the wide. You can use it as somewhat of a tremolo effect or a ring modulation, of course. And we have this drive here, which is a built-in distortion saturator unit that is post-mix, so it's unrelated to the effect itself. So you can make anything from crazy laser sounds to weird percussive sounds to just use it as a stereo expander or a distortion unit.